the profit, not for the take from in the bank, so in fixed deposit. So
Yeah, that answer is correct. You must invest in business.
you must invest in, because invest in business, the business and the area halal business is not it's like riba zone. It's like business in the trading or and the other is like many things in halal.
The answer is that yes, you invest in a business. If the business makes a profit, you share. If the business suffers a loss, you share the loss. That is the answer. But not to invest in the business as a money lender with a guaranteed return on your investment. Because now you put your money in what is essentially a fixed deposit. Is there any other alternative, any other answer that has been given? Yes. Yes, there is a curious institution in the world today called Islamic banking. And they say we are the alternative to riba. So let us look at this curious creature called Islamic banking.
But in Indonesia, Islamic banking is same with the system, the still with the convention, because not the if the terpisah ya, what is separated the conventional, the business is good, but not few in Indonesia with Islamic banking can do with the Islamic principle. And here, but still part of the part of Sunni.
It matters not whether you talk about Indonesia or Malaysia or Egypt or Tunisia or Britain or America, they're all the same. So no need to focus on Indonesia. No, they're all the same. I have not found Islamic banking to differ one place from another. They're all equally fraudulent. All equally fraudulent. What is Islamic banking? There is a second kind of riba that we were dealing with just now. But at this time, let us look at what are the transactions offered by an Islamic bank. You want to buy a car, a motor car, Toyota, and you cannot afford to pay for the car cash. The cash price of the Toyota is how many million?
150 million.
The cash price of the Toyota is 150 million. And you do not have the 150 million. So you have a motorbike, and mashallah, 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 you got a wife. So now there are two of you. And then mashallah, 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 you got a baby. So now there are three of you. But if your wife gives you another baby, how are you going to balance on the motorbike? One wife, one husband, two babies, three babies.
One grandma, one
So
grandfather.
we're gonna have to find a solution. We need a motor car. Okay? So you go to the bank, Islamic bank. And when you go to the bank, you say, Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. I want to buy a motor car, 150 million. Toyota, I don't have the money to pay cash. Can you help me? The bank says, no problem. We can help you. We have something called murabaha. And the bank explains to you that murabaha, and this of course is the correct explanation, that a murabaha transaction is one in which both the buyer and the seller are aware of the profit margin. So the cost price is 150 million. You know it and I know it. But we will buy it for 150 million and we'll sell it to you for 300 million. And since both buyer and seller are aware of the profit margin, this is, or they call it, the markup. They create new terminology. They call it markup. This is halal. But why would I pay 300 million when the price in the market is 150 million? Why? If this is a cash transaction, but I don't have the cash to pay. So it can't be a cash transaction. But now we know it's a credit transaction. The bank is giving me time to pay, 5 years. And in return for time,
5 years.
the money has increased. In return for time, the money has increased. So money is increasing by itself over time. It matters not whether it is a motor car or a house or a trip to Disneyland. It makes no difference. Money is increasing over time. This is not murabaha. No. If it was a cash transaction, it would be halal. But if it's a credit transaction, it is not halal. Because in Islam, credit price and cash price must always be the same.
Must be the same.
If credit price is higher than cash price, the difference between the two would be because of time, and that is riba. But our ulama give fatwa all over the world, not just Indonesia,
Yeah.
that this is a halal transaction. And so the Muslims are going to the Islamic bank to actually borrow money on interest. The conventional bank lends the money on interest through the front door. Islamic bank lends you money on interest through the back door. That's worse than the front door. There are other aspects of this murabaha transaction which makes it plain and clear that this is a more dangerous transaction than the one from the commercial bank. Let us turn now to the second definition of riba. The Quran does not refer to it directly by name, but the Quran commands us, لا تبخسوا الناس أشياءهم. Don't rip off people. Don't rip off people. Do not decrease the value of people's wealth, people's property, people's wages. Don't do that. Don't rip off people. Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam is the one who gave it the name riba. He said, if you meet a man coming to the market to sell his goods, in the market. It's a truckload of durian. And you buy his durian from him before he could enter into the market. And when he enters the market, then he finds out he could have gotten a better price in the market. That, said the Prophet, is riba. You exploited his ignorance of the market price to rip him off. From this definition of riba, we now have the general principle that every rip-off is riba. And the biggest rip-off of all, which has ever occurred and is still occurring since Adam alayhi salam set foot on earth, is this rip-off of paper money. This is it. This paper money is bogus, it is fraudulent, it is haram. This paper money is shirk. And this paper money functions as a vehicle of riba, through which the biggest rip-off ever in history has taken place, is still taking place. How are we ripped off through paper money? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defines what is money in the Quran and in the Hadith. But apparently they no longer teach this subject to the ulama. What is money? Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu came to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam one day with dates, hurma, and offered some dates to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. The Prophet looked at the dates and he said, Bilal, these are very high quality dates, hurma. Where did you get them? Bilal said, O Messenger of Allah, I had 2 sa', which is a measure of weight, like a kilogram. I had 2 kilograms of inferior quality dates. They may have had the value of 50,000 rupiah each. So the 2 kilograms would be valued 100,000 rupiah. I had 2 kilograms of inferior quality dates, and I exchanged them for this 1 kilogram of superior quality dates. And this one has a value of 100,000 rupiah. So in value, they were the same. In value, they were the same. Bilal, said the Prophet, this is the essence of riba. Do not do that. What you should have done was to sell the 2 kilograms of inferior quality dates. Use that money to buy the 1 kilogram of superior quality dates. But to have an exchange of dates for dates, which was an unequal exchange, this was riba, this was haram. Cannot exchange dates unequally. But Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu exchanged 1 camel for 4 camels. And that was not haram, and that was not riba. Now who will explain to me why The camels was not haram, but the dates was haram. Let me hear you.
Once camel is pregnant and contains other baby camel.
No. Yeah.
Camels are not normal commodities,
Mm-hmm.
and the dates are commodities.
Okay, next.
Because camel is not money. Meanwhile, dates, it's money.
MashaAllah, your foreign ministry is making good advances here. Camels were not used as money. Animals were not used as money. But dates were used as money. Because dates were used as money, that is, if you had a shortage of dinar and dirham in the market in Medina, they would use dates as money. Because dates were used as money, if we allow an unequal exchange of 2 kilograms for one, if that's halal, then the money lender will come and lend you 1 kilogram for 2, which is a loan on 100% interest. So to prevent the money lender from lending money on interest, you are not allowed to exchange dates unequally. Do you understand that, or do you have any questions? I wonder if they understand.
Can ask about credit. It's like example. It's like if we need one house, new houses like here, but we don't have case for transaction must be credit. So the credit need by final credit, it's like final credit on bank or final. It is different price, cash price and credit price. But bank can offer with insurance, with the insurance high price with insurance, but the cash price without insurance is different, and it is different price, cash and credit with insurance. It is including riba or not, it's like this.
You have returned now to the subject that we've just left behind, Islamic banking. So let us leave this question until the question and answer session. What I've just done was to explain why it was haram and riba to exchange 2 kilograms of dates for one. But it was not haram and not riba to exchange 4 camels for one. I want you to explain in Bahasa. They didn't understand.
I understand.
Good, explain to them.
Could you repeat again?
No, why should I repeat it?
Oke. Adalah bukan hal yang halal apabila kita menukar. Tadi kan disebutkan bahwa hadisnya Nabi Muhammad mengatakan kepada Bilal, Bilal, dari mana kamu dapat mendapatkan kurma ini? Kurma ini sangat bagus. Kurma itu ada 2, ditukar kepada 1. 2 kurma jelek ditukar sama 1 kurma bagus. Seharusnya yang dilakukan adalah jual kurma itu masing-masing 100.000, kalau harganya 50-50, kemudian baru beli kurma yang bagus itu. Karena apabila nilainya sama, nilainya itu dikatakan halal apabila tidak mengurangi kualitas dan kuantitas dari yang kita jual. Jadi kalau kita punya barang yang jelek 2, harganya 100.000 ditukar dengan barang yang bagus satu tapi harganya 100.000, itu dalam Islam nggak boleh, karena kita telah menipu seseorang yang kita jual itu bahwa dua barang kita yang senilai harganya sama itu jelek. Yang harus kita lakukan adalah kita jual dulu, kita dapat duit, baru kita cash 100.
I had a question. Why it's riba? Because you say that in that time dates were money, and why Bilal must sell those dates first before he can get the another good dates? Because it's all the same. When Bilal sell it, he get money, but the dates itself, it's money. Why?
That's what he's supposed to explain to you in Bahasa just now.
Karena itu menipu. Karena nilainya kan
Kan ada quality.
I have not as yet completed the definition of what is money. Let me finish that and we'll come back to this. Okay. Why was it that an unequal exchange of dates was haram, was riba, but an unequal exchange of camels was not? The answer to that question is located in another hadith. So let's go to that hadith now. And I want you to listen carefully. Put on your thinking cap. The Prophet said, Sallallahu Ta'ala Alayhi wa Sallam, if a transaction involves an exchange of gold for gold, or silver for silver, I'm speaking as slowly as I can. I can't speak slower than this. I don't want to speak slow to put you to sleep. I'm speaking slow so you will understand. That's why.
Yes.
If a transaction involves the exchange of gold for gold, or silver for silver, or wheat for wheat, or barley for barley, or dates for dates, or salts for salt, it must be equal for equal. If you have 2 kilograms on this side, you must have 2 on this side. It must be equal for equal. It must be hand to hand, meaning credit transaction is haram. You're not allowed to have a credit transaction when the transaction involves an exchange of gold for gold, or silver for silver, etc. Other than this, it would be riba. What is common to all 6? Gold, silver, wheat, barley, dates, salt. What is common to all 6? Answer: all 6 were used as money in the market. So that in Medina, if there was a shortage of gold and silver coins, they would use dates as money. Okay? And so now we have the definition of money in Islam. Of course the government of Indonesia is going to reject it. Of course the IMF is going to reject it. Of course. But we're talking about Islam, we're not talking about them. The definition of money in Islam is that money is either precious metals, gold and silver, or when gold and silver are in short supply in the market, then money would be commodities of food consumption, which have a shelf life, meaning you can store them. You can't store mangoes, can you? Mangoes are rotten. So commodities of food consumption which have a shelf life, which are in abundant supply in the market, and which have value inside, intrinsic value. The value of the money is inside the money, not in George Soros's pocket. And that value is created by Allah. This is money in Islam. Dinar is in the Quran. Dirham is in the Quran. So long as we use this money, they could not rip us off. No. So long as we use this money, we never suffered from inflation. The price of a sheep 5,000 years ago in gold and silver is the same price today. No difference, except when there are changes in demand and supply. So mankind never experienced inflation or constantly rising prices so long as we use money, which is in Islam, the Quran and the Sunnah. If I had 5 dinars, and with that 5 dinars I could buy a sheep, I could put that 5 dinars away, lock it away, and my grandchild can take it out and go and buy the sheep. Because this money preserved its value. What the enemy did was, first of all, and this was my lecture last night on the International Monetary Fund, what the enemy did was to what the enemy did last night was to, I mean in my talk last night, what the enemy did was to make it haram for you to use the money that Allah had made halal. So the Articles of Agreement of the International Monetary Fund prohibits the use of gold as money. If you make haram what Allah made halal, that is shirk. And if we accept it, we also are in the shirk. And yet there are those who have the ijtimaa in downtown Chicago. 500,000